I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, just like the woman on the other mic. I'm talking about the beautiful Miss Anna Vocino. Yeah. Anna, I was just talking to, I'm going to say their names, Becky and Jason. Just got off the phone.
Becky and Jason.
Becky and Jason, they happen to be married. And wonderful people. They just got into doing low carb. Well, they started, it's an interesting story. They started about a month ago. I think Jason heard me on Mike Rowe. And
Roby's 3.0.
Mm-hmm, and they started doing what they thought was low carb. And then they watched the documentary, Dirty Keto, and they realized, oh, wait, we're doing the wrong thing. And then, the reason they called me was because Becky had one simple, she had three questions, but the first question was simple and straightforward. She said, in order to do this, does that mean the only thing I can eat is meat? And I said, no. You see, they went from dirty keto all the way to carnivore, and they didn't make a stop anywhere near low carb, right?
Right. That's called an overcorrection.
Yeah, right. So, we got into that for a few minutes, and I explained to him, I said, look, all you're trying to do, and we're going to talk that we're doing a 101 today. Anna, tell them which type of 101. We're going to get to it in a minute.
Holidays 101.
Yeah,
where's the Christmas music? Let's play it.
And I just got rid of all my music because it pissed me off. So screw you. I'll find holiday music next week. Anyway, we started talking, and we talked about the holidays a little bit, right? But we're going to get into that in just a minute.
On people's minds.
I said, look, the whole idea behind all of this, I don't care if you call it paleo, carnivore, NSNG, Atkins, low carb, call it whatever you want. The name of the game is keeping your insulin in control. If you can keep insulin low, you can correct your A1Cs. She has type 2 diabetes. She's looking to get rid of that. She's on 3 medications. That's why I'm not saying her last name here. 3 medications. Right?
In case somebody accidentally prescribes her more medications. Is that why you won't say her name?
Yeah. But, she's not unusual. I hear this all day, every day when I do the consults. And the bottom line is, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're keeping insulin at bay, meaning you're not eating anything that will raise it. And yes, a potato will do that. A yam will do that. Eating too many beans will do that. So you have to keep all of that stuff on the DL until you get yourself fixed. And you need to go at least 30 days. As Anna would tell you, 60 days for a lot of people. But here's the beauty.
60. I really do.
She's already been on your website. And she says, I appreciate that Anna said, actually says, and I didn't know this, Anna, because I guess I don't go to your website enough. I have your
Why would you? Why would you go to my website?
Books. I got all 3 of the books. She goes, Anna says, look, some of these are not completely NSNG. How do you put that on the website? What do you say there, Anna?
Well, I mean, obviously any sweets or desserts are not NSNG.
Right.
So stay away from those. But I do write those recipes. We can talk about it later, but I do write those recipes so that you have an option. If you want to make a homemade treat, you have an option of making something that's grain-free and with the least amount of sweet possible. I don't work with the artificial sugar substitutes and the artificial sugars because they don't agree with me and I hate the taste of them. So if that's how you want to make your sweet treats, that's fine. But the whole point of Dirty Keto is to eat more whole foods.
Yeah.
I mean, not doing Dirty Keto, but watch Dirty Keto, the documentary that Vinnie made. It's incredibly informative. And you might find yourself identified like, oh crap, I've been having keto crackers and keto bread and keto dessert and keto this and keto ice cream, and not knowing that you're making yourself, you're just giving yourself a chemical shitstorm and you're not allowing your body to heal. And what Vinnie's talking about with the insulin, because you're eating all this processed foods. So I label very clearly when they're not NSNG. Okay. Yeah. But honestly, 99% of my recipes are. Now, that being said, we've got a gamut, Vinnie. We've got a gamut. I don't make a low carb pizza crust anymore, but damn if my books, I have 4 pizza crusts and a calzone crust. Okay. That are low carb. I don't make them anymore because I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I will take sauce and put it on meat and put a little cheese on there, and that gives me my Italian food feels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the way
But
we do it.
I gotta do a range of recipes for when people are new to this. You're a month into it, you might be really just jonesing for that pizza night that you used to have every Friday. Well, I have an option for you. I can't ask you to go completely, like you said, a carnivore. That would be crazy. Nobody would do it.
Right.
Everybody would disappear.
Right. And by the way, we have nothing. If you're carnivore and you're succeeding, and a lot of people do,
For sure.
yeah, do it.
But I guarantee
that,
you,
do it.
the people who find NSNG first try NSNG first, and then they tweak it to get on their way to whatever they do. Maybe they do dairy free, maybe they do carnivore, maybe they do what's it called?
Well,
Fasting. I don't know. But everybody does something different.
I can tell you this. Most people that did NSNG for a long period, or some form of low carb that resembles NSNG, it's all about the same. And then they decided to go completely carnivore. They seem to always come back, because the one, and a lot of people stay carnivore and they're fine with it. The real problem that a lot of the carnivores have is mouth fatigue. And that's where Anna Vocino's books come in. Mouth fatigue.
What do you mean mouth fatigue? Like they're bored with just eating ground beef or salt?
Every day it's just ground beef or steak. And I know that sounds great, but when it's that day in and day out and day in and day out, you get mouth fatigue. It's like the same thing over and over. It's like, your dog doesn't mind it, but you might. And some people don't.
Some people
don't. I tend, when Serena's not here, I go closer to carnivore, right?
Yeah.
But the way I beat mouth fatigue is I don't mind scrambling up 6 eggs for dinner.
Right.
Right. I don't mind going out, and I'll go out and buy, to Whole Foods where they have really good sausage, or there's a meat market, like a big meat, it's like an actual meat market. And they stuff their sausages fresh over there too, just like they do at Whole Foods. And I'll go there and I'll say, give me, 2 brats, 2 hot Italians, and 2 andouilles, right? I'll cook them all at once. And, that's like almost 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of meat, these big giant sausages. I'll eat, half of them the first night, half the second night. I'll have one of each of the sausages I just said. You just chop those up, you eat them in front of the television, you're fine.
Yeah.
As you know, I'll do that. The next night, I'll take the sausage, add ground meat to it, and mix it up and put your arrabbiata, and have, that's how we came up with the triple crime, chili. And I'll put some eggs, some hard-boiled eggs in there.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have a way of kind of taking carnivore and changing it up. Third night, I might have a steak. Fourth night is going to be fish. As a matter of fact, I might do fish 2 or 3 nights in a row, because I'm kind of a fish freak.
Yeah.
I like fish more than the next guy. If I'm in Louisiana, I'll buy frog legs and stuff like that. Just other kind of meats. If I have venison in the freezer when Serena's gone, I'll do a venison. I'll do some either venison sausage or some rump roast or something like that. There's ways to change it up.
Oh yeah.
But when she comes back to town, she makes more delectable meals because she's really good at it. I'm not.
Right.
Right. So,
well, and I think the key is it's an evolving process. And a lot of times, if you're listening to this podcast, you might be the only one in your household doing this, and you're looking for ideas and support. And it's hard, when nobody else in your family is doing it. But I guarantee you, when you start cooking this food, they're all going to come for your food. It happens every time. And you better make extra of your kind of food. But I was also the mom who made 3 dinners, one for my picky eater daughter, one for my husband who had the carbs, and then one for me.
How did I not marry you? Where were you when I was around?
I just, it's exhausting. And moms out there, or dads who do that, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anybody else who's never done it thinks it's crazy. And the people who are currently doing it are like, wait, you don't make 3 different dinners for everybody in your household? You can do it. You can do it. But that's the whole point of those books. But I want to talk about what you did this weekend before we get to the holidays.
Yeah. I went up to DC on Sunday, and It was fortuitous because I was able to do that, and I started my thing with my Dupuytren's this week. I'm not
That's
ready
right.
to talk about the radiation of Dupuytren's yet. I want to see how well my hands do. It takes 12 weeks, and you go back for 5 more things. So
Okay.
I won't give an update on that until, you know, I see what it does, right?
But Vinny, I'm glad you said something because that night I was on a Zoom with friends
Mhm.
and a guy who's 10 years younger than me was mentioning that his hands were, he didn't say Dupuytren's, but he says his hands were stiff and that his uncle had to have the surgery, like you were talking about with Adam
Mhm.
Carolla, because his hands were going like that. And I was like, there's radiation. And I was able to like tell your story to somebody
Yeah.
because you told that story. So
Yeah.
hopefully I saved somebody from getting a surgery in 10 years.
The one I'm told not to do, there's a shot, they could give you shots and it goes in and liquefies the problem. And apparently it fixes it pretty quickly, but
Mm.
it causes it to grow back really fast and it comes
Ooh.
back with a vengeance. So look, I'm not telling you, I'm trying the radiation thing. I'm 3 days in. I go tomorrow and Friday, and then I'm done for 12 weeks, and I go back at the first of the year, and they do 12 more. But I was in DC on Sunday for it was a rally, Anna.
You gave a speech at a rally, right?
I
Is that
did.
what it was?
I
That's
did.
awesome.
And it was me and a lot of my friends. Everyone who's been on this show. As a matter of fact, I said it on stage. I said, everyone you guys are going to see up here today, they've been on my show, except for Chris Palmer, who, guess what? He's coming on the show. He's going to be on the
Great.
Friday show coming up in a couple of weeks. Actually, in December, he's coming on. But, Nina was there. Mark Cucuzella was there. Robert Lustig was there. Eric Westman was there. A couple of people I didn't recognize who are kind of new to this, but they were doctors. They were there.
Oh, I saw Tro was there, right?
Tro was there. Tro gave
Yeah.
a nice speech. And here's the thing. I was a little upset that there were not more people there. But I think that, talking to the woman who, Jess Apple, who put this together, they were kind of under the gun and they were kind of a day late and a dollar short. So they didn't really get a lot of the word out. But I was impressed that there was a couple of hundred people there, maybe something like that. And I'm sure that they're going to put the videos online and it's going to cause more people to see what's going on.
Yeah.
They had a guy who's, I'm not going to mention his name, is somewhat of a benefactor that helped this thing come together.
Mhm.
I'm actually bringing him on my Friday show. I'm not going to mention his name yet because he got sick off of a vaccine, but not the COVID-19 vaccine. He got sick with the Shingrix
Oh,
vaccine.
no. I'm about to go get that one.
Well, I've taken my first one, but then I had to stop because I'm going, I'm not done with
Oh,
my,
yeah, you can't do it
I'm
with the
in the middle of
radiation.
cancer, so I can't do the second Shingrix. But he had an immediate allergic reaction, which apparently does not happen very often, folks. I'm not saying anything bad against Shingrix. It's probably better to get it if you're of a certain age. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Do your own research. But I'm going to get my second shot as soon as I get cleared to be able to get another vaccine shot for that. And he had a terrible reaction to it and almost died and used literally an all meat diet after medicine didn't know what else to do with this guy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He healed himself with meat. He's one of those meat heal guys, right? So another strike for eating carnivore right there. People go, oh, well, you're talking bad about. No, I'm not talking bad about any of it. This guy cut all the shit out of his diet and corrected himself. And
That's amazing.
super nice guy. He's coming on the show. He was one of the big benefactors. We were all sitting around, we had a dinner afterwards at this restaurant. And I was at a table with, it was me and Nina, Georgia Eade and her wife, and this guy, this benefactor guy, and Jess Apple was at the table I was at. And they were talking about, we need to make change and we need to make change and change and change and change. It's like, I said, guys, I said, you know what? I've been doing this online for, I don't know, 12 years. How long, Adam? 12, 13 years, something like that.
Almost 13 years.
Yeah. And, you know,
2012. We started early 2012.
my book has sold a gazillion copies. I said, Nina Taisho's sitting right there, best-selling author, same kind of thing. And I said, if you guys remember, Nina in her speech talked about all of the stuff we've been able to prove, yet zero has happened as far as changing anything. Zero.
Mhm.
So we're not really affecting change on a government level yet. You know, people go, yeah, but it's one person. It's like, yeah. But we need to start affecting change on a government. You know, the government needs to start getting there. Just like the McGovern committee said, okay, we're going to go with this. Boom, let's do a pyramid. It's got to be that kind of change. And we're just not there yet because we need to change institutions, meaning public schools need to change. What we're feeding these kids in schools need to change.
Yep.
Hospitals need to get on board. And we're not there yet. That's why I'm going to keep fighting until my dying day so that hopefully the next generation or 2 generations behind me will be able to figure this out. And Jess was sitting next to me. She goes, well, that's kind of negative. I said, Jess, it's not kind of negative. It's very negative. But you want me to sit here and lie? Nobody here wants smoke blown up their ass. I said, look, I'm looking at Georgia Eden. I'm looking at Nina Taisho's. I'm looking at Eric Westman at the next table. We all know the truth. And we're not blowing smoke up anyone's ass. You know, we need to have more rallies and we need to get more people to get more politicians involved, right? And the one thing I did say, and this might be the most political thing I ever say on this podcast, the only politician I've heard say anything about this ever in a good direction, and most people consider him a kook. I don't know if he's a kook or not. I don't know much about the man, is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK. He's the only one. He's the only one saying anything. Now, will that make a difference? Right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You know,
what? Listen, Vinnie, I'm in the streets every weekend giving out sauce samples, talking to people about what's going on with them.
Yeah.
People don't know what it is that you and I and all these people are teaching. It is not mainstream.
Not at all.
We are in our echo chamber in our groups, and that's great to support each other because it is a huge paradigm shift from what we're fed from the mainstream. But you have to realize it is an echo chamber, and that's why it's so hard when people are they hear you on Mike Rowe. It makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to try that. I'm going to get Vinnie's PDF and I'm going to try this thing. You know what? I'll grab one of Anna's books and I'll try to make some things. And it feels good and it tastes good. And I like this. But then you go and talk to the people in your world. Maybe you're at school, maybe you're at work, maybe you're at home, and people just think you're nuts. And it's so insane to me that real food has been so demonized that people will just oh, you're nuts. That's you cuckoo banana pants having a steak and some broccoli. That'll kill you.
Yeah, you're going to die of a heart attack. I mean, people still believe that.
Oh, it's crazy. And doctors too. And I mean, it's hard to talk to a doctor about it.
Yeah.
And they're good people. They're like, I don't know anything about that. So I'm going to say, no, I'm going to stick with the food pyramid and the whole heart healthy whole grains and have 5 servings of fruit and some vegetable, but let's be honest, they're talking about fruit, and we're in an echo chamber and it's really important to be talking to people. That's all.
Yeah. And look, I see Mark Cucuzella. The guy looks like he can win a marathon right now. Nina Taisho's, hell, she was in my backyard in a swimsuit several months back. The woman has, she's in her 50s. I'm not going to give her age. Well, she's close to my age, closer to mine than yours. The woman rocks a bathing suit. You will go, oh, she's got the body of a 25-year-old. Eric Westman, right, who's my age. The guy is long and lean. Everybody that was on that stage, very fit, right? These are all fit, good-looking doctors, rosy cheeks. These all look like healthy people yelling this, and they're all MDs. Nina's now a PhD. I'm the only idiot in the group, right? But, we're all there yelling about this, and we're yelling, as I said at the dinner afterwards, it's like, I know you guys want to think we've affected some change today. We didn't do fuck. But we have to keep doing it until we are doing fuck.
Absolutely.
And that's the final word I'm going to say on that. We're going to do a quick ad for Villa Capelli, and we're going to go right into what you need to eat and how you need to be successful during holiday time. I was just talking to my best friend Becky and Jason about this. 20 minutes ago, but Anna has a word about the best olive oil
You
on the
guys,
planet.
did you see, was it a note from somebody who's very close to the show? And I was shocked that they hadn't tried Villa Capelli olive oil yet. Oh, maybe it was a note. I think it was online. It was Scott King writing to Stephen Crutchfield. I saw a post or a comment, and I thought everybody who's close to the show has tried it, but not necessarily. And Scott said, I cannot believe. I thought I had been having olive oil this whole time. I cannot believe how good it tasted to have Villa Capelli olive oil instead of just the store-bought stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's that's another paradigm shift where you're like, no, I have olive oil. Like I've been buying olive oil. How much better can it be? It is so flavorful. It will blow your mind.
Let me say this, Anna, to capitalize on what Scott was saying. Before we started this podcast, years and years before we started, before you and I, well, I knew you at the time, but
Yeah.
we didn't do the podcast. I was in Italy and I was with Serena. It was early on in our relationship. And, honeymoon period when you still like each other. Yeah,
Right.
And I said, Serena, I think we were in Rome. No, we were in Capri. And we were and they poured the olive oil over the caprese salad.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, Serena, am I being romanticized by looking at the Mediterranean Sea off the edge of this cliff?
Mm-hmm.
One with a beautiful Italian accent just drizzled this over the top. I've been noticing we were in Rome, we were in all these different places. The olive oil here is not what we get in the States. And she goes, I think you're being romanticized by. No. This has a more. I used the word poignant. I said it's more poignant. There's something about it. There's character to this olive oil. It tastes alive, right?
Right.
That's the only thing I can say. It's
That's a good way
alive.
to put it. Yeah.
It's kind of like live active culture yogurt versus dead yogurt. You could taste the difference, right? You
Right.
can taste that peppery finish. You can taste the tannins. You can taste everything that's in that olive. And I never got that again until I was at Anna's house at the beginning of this show. And she brings out a shot glass with olive oil for me to drink in between shows because I used to yell into the mic a lot and strain my voice. We did 3-4 shows. I'm choking now.
Oh boy. Oh boy. It's happening now.
I'm telling you, it was a big difference. I went, oh my God, I feel like I'm back in Capri, right? That's how incredible it was.
So a few years into us doing the podcast, Stephen and Paul, the late Paul Capelli, the namesake of Villa Capelli olive oil, decided to sponsor this show, and we've never looked back. And it's been a great relationship because Stephen continues to make the most beautiful extra virgin olive oil, first press, cold press, and sends it to, I believe, Pennsylvania. And then they ship out our orders that we all make in the States from there. And if you go to villacapelli.com, make sure you use the discount code Vinnie, Vinnie. You'll get 10% off your order each and every time. However, we always say get your cart size around $140 to $145 because then when you use the discount code, you still qualify for the free shipping. You will not regret it if you just take the plunge and get the 3-liter tin. I started with the little 500, or it was a 500 milliliter bottle at the time. Now it's a 750 milliliter
It was
bottle.
a cute bottle. I got one, and then I kept that bottle forever.
I have my bottles still. I
Yeah.
have my bottles.
Yeah.
And a couple of my bottles are in the freezer with homemade limoncello, which I don't drink anymore and haven't for years, but I can't seem to get rid of it. But I love those little bottles. But now just take the plunge and get the 3-liter tin. You will not regret it. They have great salts and seasonings too. They have other oils, flavored oils. And enjoy Villa Capelli. They're incredible. And you're not going to find such care and detail from an olive oil food producer as you will from Stephen Crutchfield.
Anna, we're coming up on a candy holiday, followed by a pie holiday, followed by a cake holiday, followed by a drinking holiday. Did I cover that correctly?
Yeah. What's the cake holiday?
Christmas.
Oh, is Christmas cake?
Yes.
Oh, because you're married to a Brit.
Yeah, it's Jesus' birthday, so it's a cake holiday.
It's okay. It's a happy birthday.
Hey, you. It's your birthday.
Hey.
Yeah.
So this candy holiday, you know what's funny? I'm not feeling Halloween this year. because I went to the store and I saw the candy out and I was like, "What?" But then I looked at we're recording this on October 16th. It's perfectly within, you know, the time to have candy out in the stores, but I guess it was because I'm just busy with the book launch, so I haven't
You
paid
have
attention.
well, you see, I haven't been in a grocery store for a bit. I noticed when I was in Whole Foods, probably a week ago, they had like, like fall stuff. You can see like, brown
Yeah.
stalks of this and fake leaves around, like they're
Mhm.
letting oh, it's fall. And I guess it was kind of Halloween-ish.
Yeah, it's autumnal.
And you see, when I grew up, Halloween wasn't really a thing. Like you didn't, you just, oh, it's Halloween tonight. Oh, you throw a mask on, you go around to the neighbors and they throw candy into this little plastic pumpkin you have. You come home, you eat your
Yeah.
candy, you call it a day.
It's definitely way more of a thing than it was.
Well,
I
when I
mean,
went
listen,
to
as a kid,
Hollywood,
for me, it was very important,
yeah,
but we didn't get nearly the amount of candy that the kids can score these days.
it wasn't until I got to LA where, people would dress up and go to work dressed up. And it's like, is it because it's Hollywood and everyone wants to be an actor and they're acting out their favorite thing today? Or, I didn't know.
LA does Halloween like I have never seen it any other place in the country.
Yeah. I mean, people are just nuts for it. And I went, okay. But then it's become a big deal. Like these pop-up stores, Anna.
Right,
You
the
know,
Halloween Spirit or
yeah.
Spirit Halloween, whatever it's called.
Yeah, they'll take an abandoned, storefront and they'll do a pop-up store and then they go right from Halloween to Thanksgiving pop-up store, and then they'll go right into Christmas pop-up store and on and on and on. So we
What
all
do they sell at the Thanksgiving pop-up store? That sounds
I guess they got a
boring.
turkey in there or something. I don't know. Um, but eating around that time. So
Yeah,
how do you handle it? Well, if you're me, people ask every year, Anna,
yeah.
do you hand out candy?
Yeah, do you give out the candy?
Um, I famously put a post up where the neighborhood kids, I had them, come to the door and trick or treat. And then in the next scene, you see them in the yard doing push ups in front of me.
Yeah, that's right. You gotta repost that. That's
Yeah.
cute.
Um, no, you know, I feel weird handing candy out because I'm the no sugars, no grains guy.
Yeah.
And then, and so we just turn off the lights.
That's an option. Everybody knows not to go to the house with the lights off.
We just turn off the lights and we kind of hide, away from, we don't watch television in the front room or whatever. And
Yeah.
no one's home. No one comes. They know we're not handing out candy. Serena still buys a bag of candy in case someone does knock on the door, which means we end up throwing it away. No, we don't keep it around. I don't keep
So
it
do
around.
we.
I'm a sugar addict. So that's like saying, "Hey, Vin, you're an alcoholic. Go 10 bar." Right? I would never take that job if I'm an alcoholic.
Right.
I'd be around liquor if I have a problem with alcohol. I can't have sugar in the house.
I'm gonna argue something though,
Go on.
because I did live in a trick or treat neighborhood in North Hollywood, so we had the candy, we gave it out, and famously am married to a sugar addict, so
Mhm.
um, I had to get the candy. So now moving up here in the country, we don't have any trick or treaters, and I bought some candy for the little twins across the street who like to come over when they're done quit trick or treating, and then they get a little extra candy from us. But really, I'm buying the candy for Lauren. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Right.
And but here's the thing. I want to say this. I think it was 3 years ago, because last year I was traveling and this year I'm gonna be traveling. 3 years ago, I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna have a Reese's cup because that's my favorite candy. I'm gonna put a little life into living. Let me have the Reese's cup." I gotta say, hear me now, believe me later. It doesn't taste like what you think it's gonna taste like.
Right.
Because if you've done NSNG for any length of time, you've changed your palate. Your taste buds have changed. And I literally had a bite of it and I was like, "Bah." It felt like it was so cloyingly sweet. I would much rather have a little spoonful of peanut butter and a bite of 90% dark chocolate than ever have a Reese's again in my life. And I know that sounds crazy when you're new to this because you're like,
I know.
no, whatever your favorite candy is, you're real attached to it. But
Right.
I promise you, you can change your taste buds. And one day you'll say that. And that's part of the process. Go back and try it. And you're like, I'm disappointed in that. So I don't need to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. But still, even with that, Anna, I'm a big fan of Just don't have it. You get it out of the house. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
if you're going to hand it out, folks, when you're done, don't go, oh, I spent all this money on this and blah, blah, throw it away.
By the way, the candy's
Away.
expensive. Remember last year it was $14 a bag?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I remember that. And it's got to be
That's
worse
how much
this year
it
because
is.
inflation's even worse.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But listen, if you have kids, you're taking them trick or treating. That's just what you're doing. The biggest thing to try to resist is when you're walking with them, don't stick your hand in the bag and have it. Have some food, have NSNG food, get full before you go out, which sometimes if you're taking littles out early, you're going to have to eat earlier, but just do what you can to arm yourself, especially if you're new, because if you have one piece of candy and you're a sugar addict, you know what happens, Vin. You're just going to be ripping into them.
and here's the other thing. Your kids. So we have one kid, Tallulah, and Anna only had one kid also. So I don't know what you guys did, but I think we've talked about this in years past. She would collect all the candy trick-or-treating, and then we would do a thing where it was like, okay, select 2 candies. Go in that thing, select your 2 favorite candies. And we're going to take the rest, and we're going to save it for you. And whenever you want more, so like the next night can I select another candy, right? Absolutely. She kind of forgot about it by the 3rd night. And then we would hang on to it for like, I don't know, a week or 2. And once we got far enough away from it,
When they're little enough, you can do that.
Yeah, no, we'd throw it out. But she got used to that as she got older. Even when she was like 13 or 14, she would go, can I have some more candy? It's like, yeah, you know where it is. And then she would just forget about it again. So she never I didn't want her to have an eating disorder, right? I didn't want to go, you're never having this candy, you know?
Of course, that's what happens if you
Yeah.
withhold it.
Right. But she would
You're
just
gonna
kind
create
of forget
issues.
about it after a while. And then, after we got past a couple of weeks, Serena would just throw it out,
Yeah.
and then that was that, right? So that's the easiest of all the holidays. The toughest, I think, is the one that comes up right behind it, the pie.
Yeah. Thanksgiving's my favorite, and it's also the busiest on my website because I have chosen to, over the years, create NSNG alternatives to
Mhm.
pretty much everything on the Thanksgiving table and also come up with some new ones. I did put together a little PDF called Eat Happy for the Holidays, where I put all those recipes together plus a bunch of new ones. And there are still some that I have not, like a pumpkin pie. I started my pumpkin pie journey completely sugar-free. And it smelled amazing because pumpkin spice smells amazing. And then you take a bite and it tastes like you ate air. There's no flavor. It's so strange. However, what I came to figure out from a little chemistry lesson was that the sugar with the pumpkin spice is kind of what brings it all together. So I was like, well, let me figure out how to make this with the least amount of sugar possible. And that's always my theory with the desserts. I try to take out the sugar altogether. They're all grain free. I try to take out the sugar altogether. If it doesn't quite work and we do want it to be a treat, I'm going to add back in a little sugar, but I, disclose that. And you guys are adults, by the way. The thing where people open the cookbooks and immediately open it to the dessert chapter and then are outraged that I would dare to put that in there. It's really funny to me because I'm like, it's not jumping off the page and making you make it.
Right.
That's a you choice.
Yeah.
But I want to give you that choice because you're an adult and you deserve to have choices. So Thanksgiving, I've got the turkey, and I leave them all up on my website for free. I'll be putting them over onto my Substack. I'm transferring everything over to Substack. So between annavicino.com and annavicino.substack.com, you can do an entirely NSNG Thanksgiving. You do not have to make a pie. You do not have to make any sort of candied yams. You will get full making cauliflower mash, turkey. You don't even have to make turkey. You can make a roast if you want to. I know Vinnie doesn't love turkey.
We do rib
I
roast.
love turkey.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, you do a rib roast. I have a rib roast recipe for free on my site as well. Like I've got all that there. There are people who do completely NSNG Thanksgivings. When it's just Lauren and me, he buys himself a pie from the lady baker's table because he loves her pies and I can't eat it anyway. And then I make the turkey and the gravy, low carb gravy. I make the cauliflower gratin because that gives you little cheesy vegetable feels.
Mm-hmm.
And Or sometimes I'll make a cauliflower mash, but usually I make the cauliflower gratin, and then I'll roast either Brussels sprouts or broccoli. And we're full from that. Like, we don't need more food when it's just the two of us. If I'm bringing stuff over to people, I always make NSNG versions. If you're having a Friendsgiving, make sure you're making NSNG versions of things, because you shouldn't sit there feeling left out, like you can't have the same food as everybody else. It's an eating holiday. It revolves around eating.
Yeah. And by the way, just to let you know how backwards we are about what the truth is, every year, and you're going to hear it again this year. And I just want to bring it, this doesn't mean anything, but it lets you know how backwards we are when it comes to food. Every news channel is going to talk about tryptophan and how turkey has tryptophan. And that's why everyone falls asleep after, the Thanksgiving meal. You would have to eat the whole 22-pound turkey to get anywhere near the amount of tryptophan to actually cause a problem. The reason you fall asleep after you eat is not because of the small amount of turkey you had, is because you had the turkey gravy that was full of, that gravy was full of flour. You also had a stuffing that's full of carbohydrates, followed by mashed potatoes, carbohydrate, followed by some kind of either pecan pie, pumpkin pie, apple pie, carbohydrate, carbohydrate, carbohydrate. And it shoots your blood sugar really high, and then it plummets. And there you are watching the afternoon college football games, and you can't keep your eyes open. It's like someone drugged you, right?
Right.
It has nothing to do with the little tiny piece of turkey that you happen to have with the large amount of gravy that was poured over it and all the other carbs. But again, that's one of those little lies that media tells us, oh, tryptophan is going to make you fall asleep. Bullshit. So, let's get past that holiday and go to the next holiday, Christmas. I get that Thanksgiving is tough. It's tough for me too. I'm going to be in Louisiana this year on Thanksgiving, right? And
yeah, you're going to have all of your childhood temptations there.
Well, Serena and I are cooking the meal, but I explained to her, because my brother and his wife, we're going to my brother's house, but we're taking over his house because he's becoming a grandfather for the first time, and he and his wife are going to be in Florida. So Serena and myself, we're taking over.
So you're like moving in the house while you're visiting and
taking over. And then my parents are going to come over there, and my brothers, and the whole thing. And I explained to her, I said, look, Italian Thanksgiving, someone's going to bring a lasagna, someone's going to bring a this and a that.
Yeah.
And even though we're going to do a rib roast, we're going to do a smaller rib roast because I just don't eat turkey and I want to enjoy the meal.
Yeah.
But we're going to be doing a turkey, right? We have to do a turkey. It's just what it is.
You got to do my turkey recipe. It's the best turkey.
Well, I will tell Serena to do that.
It's so good.
Unless
dry brine it first.
You got to remember, Anna, I'm going to be in Cajun country. They may request that we do the deep fry.
Dry brine it and put Cajun spices on it first. So let it sit with that. Then do your deep frying.
Okay, so
you can still deep fry it. You can still rub the butter and the anchovy paste on there.
All right, good.
It's real good.
Tell everyone where they can find that recipe, Anna.
AnnaVocino.com.
Okay.
Or and Eat Happy for the holidays. I want to ask you this, because some people do an entirely NSNG Thanksgiving and Christmas. Some people choose. I always say Christmas Eve. I allow myself 23rd and 24th and 25th. I can have whatever I want, and it's so funny because I can't. But I can't eat whatever I want. That's the thing. I literally can't. After one day of doing that, because on Christmas Eve we always have tamales. That's the tradition in our house. And I have a half of a tamale and I feel like I want to puke because I'm so full.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to eating any corn, much less a wad of masa. Tastes delicious. I'm not arguing that, but I allow myself to have that tradition with my family. And I guess too, I wanted to point out, if you're allowing yourself to have some life into living and that's the thing that you're going to do, I like the advice that you give about just get right back on the very next meal. Just get right back on. So when I allow myself, okay, we have the people over for vodkas and latkes the 23rd, we have the 24th, we have that thing, and then we have Christmas dinner. It's by the time I'm done with Christmas Eve, I am done having any bites of carbs because I just don't feel good. I don't like it. But I always give myself that permission if I want to.
For
There you go.
Thanksgiving, I pretty much stay low carb and
Yeah.
allow myself a piece of pie.
Oh,
That's my life into living. I allow myself a piece of pie. And to be honest with you, some years I don't even do it. I might just do a little
yeah.
sliver of it or something and then just go
Yeah.
straight to the coffee because, it's kind
Oh,
of like
yeah,
an
tell people
alcoholic.
about the coffee trick.
I will. I'm like an alcoholic. A little is never enough. 1,000 is never enough. And one, you know the whole thing. I
Yeah.
don't know how that saying goes. I'm going to,
Yeah.
me with malaprops. Um, but yeah, I'm going to have a small piece of whatever kind of pie I decide I'm going to have, whatever's there. And then I immediately have coffee. Now, uh, a good stiff black coffee is the way you want to go. If I'm doing this at home, I have an espresso machine is right behind me, right? And espresso works better, but I'll just start drinking coffee right behind me, get that taste out of my mouth, and then I can move on. I can enjoy the pie, have my coffee, move on, right? Christmas, I usually don't look at the dessert for Christmas. That's when I go for the savory carbs. If there's
Right.
a dressing, Serena does it's a British thing where she cooks she makes chunks of potato and somehow she, put them in the oven and then drop them in hot oil and it makes like a puff pastry
Yeah.
over. Yeah, I don't know how that happens. Or the potatoes are really cold and then you do something and I usually enjoy that with a little gravy so every holiday I have that one thing I want to do. Thanksgiving, I have the little piece of pie. Christmas, I don't do the pie or the cake. My life into living is these incredible potatoes that Serena makes
Mhm.
exactly once a year. And Tallulah loves them. Everyone loves them. And
But see, that's the thing. Everyone has their family traditions of these
right.
meals. So that's why I say, like, if you don't want to have it, fine. But if you do want to have it, fine. Like,
Yeah.
make your decision and line up with it.
And some of the Scott Thomases are coming over. They're going to be here for Christmas. And they bring a lot of we're going to have this tradition and that tradition. And I'm going to try something, right? Alcohol on those holidays. Yeah, that's usually when people have one more drink than they should and they get in fight with relatives. Um,
That's true. Hey, I got the eggnog recipe for you people.
yeah, I tried to make Anna's eggnog and I ended up making custard. It was
Great.
delicious custard.
Yum.
I was able to eat my eggnog. Um, you know, I'm again, alcohol is poison. I will have a small amount. I never get drunk. I never drink too much. Usually, with the Christmas and the Thanksgiving meal, I might have a glass of wine. That's where a glass of wine might come in because it feels special and it's holiday y. So look, don't beat yourself up about that meal. Enjoy whatever you're doing, but get right back on it. Now, the biggest 101 tip I can give, Anna, and we didn't mention it yet, is when people leave, have them take food with them.
Yeah, send all of the trigger foods away
Yeah, get them out, and
with people
whatever's
who
not
want to
taken,
eat them.
throw it away. Just throw it away. If don't waste turkey meat or anything like that. You can eat that the
You'll
next
definitely
day.
make broth with whatever you have left over.
Yeah. That's all fine. But any of the carbohydrates, the pies, the cakes, the dressing, let it go away. Either throw it away or let people take it. If when someone's leaving your house, they got to take something with them. Because when we close that shop down for the night, when we close that kitchen down, there can't be anything for me to go. Let me go hit a little bit more pecan.
Yeah, you don't wanna go get a nibble. No,
That's the
gotta be
biggest.
off the table.
Look, people will go, oh yeah, we ended up eating turkey sandwiches for the next week. Sandwiches are made with bread, folks. Bread is something you shouldn't have every day, right? You just
Yeah,
have it on the holiday. Just eat whatever you're going to do, whatever life into living you're going to do it on the holiday, not the day after, not the whole
right,
weekend.
right.
Oh, it's still Thanksgiving weekend. My family's still in town. We're still hanging out. I'm going to keep blowing it out. Be disciplined enough to jump right back in.
Well, because that's when the benders happen, and then people don't want to recommit until I would like to say January 1st, but then people are hungover and they don't really want to commit till the Monday after, whatever the first Monday of the new year is. That's where we get our most downloads. And I mean, you and I celebrate Christmas, so we mostly are coming from that perspective. But I will this is a little secret that I've never said on the air, Vinny.
Mm.
I make the best latkes you've ever had,
Really?
ever. And I've been making them for years. And then I stopped because I went NSNG.
Mm.
Well, this year, because I have, this is going to be the third, well, till 2 years ago, I would make them for vodkas and latkes. I now have the most amazing low carb latke recipe that's in Eat Happy for the Holidays using zucchini
Really?
and pork rinds.
Serena, for
And,
the non-Jewish folks out there, explain what a latke is.
Anna, I'm Anna.
What did I call you?
Serena.
Oh.
It's
No,
all
no.
right.
The non
A latke is a potato pancake, and you serve them with applesauce and sour cream. So if you're gonna do, and it's a fried potato pancake, you fry it in oil. You make them fresh, and you fry it in oil. So I mean, it's not deep fried. You're pan frying them, but still, you're basically
you
having
have to
carb
eat them right
fried in
away.
fat.
Yeah, they got to be eaten
Yeah,
right away because they don't taste
and
good. Yeah,
it's gonna be a blood sugar bomb
it
if
is.
you have
Yeah.
latkes, and then applesauce. Also, too, I put a homemade applesauce in there.
Yeah.
Because don't use store-bought applesauce. It's so easy to just stew
Crush
up some
them up.
apples with
Yeah.
some spices and have them fresh with lemon juice. But so the zucchini latkes are so good. And it shouldn't surprise me because I make the best latkes. I'm not even Jewish. I'm sorry. Everybody's out there is like, I'm going to put you up against my grandma who makes the best latkes. Your grandma definitely makes better latkes than
Yeah.
me.
It's
Other than that, other than your grandma, I make the best latkes.
Anna is Jewish adjacent. She's not an
Mhm.
actual Jewish person.
That's correct.
So
That is correct.
she's Italian, which is Jew with better shoes, I guess.
Sherry Klein, my friend Sherry Klein calls the Italians the fun Jews.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
always said that.
I've always liked that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very not even true because Jewish people are comedians, let's be honest.
Like they make a dreidel out of clay. They don't have good games. It's just-
No, they don't have good games, but they're funny.
yeah. They are the funny.
They only had the art of comedy, stand up, and to help.
They've been through a lot.
Dreidels weren't. Yeah, exactly.
If they can't be funny at this point, no one.
Really yummy food that's very high in carb. I have yet to figure out a low carb matzah. It's don't write me about a low carb matzah ball.
It's not going to happen.
Not happening.
No.
Not happening.
No.
Just stay away from the matzah.
Matzah is matzah. I've actually had people say to me, wait, matzah is unleavened. That means I can have, no, it's still a ball of carbohydrates.
It's a ball of crackers. It's what you're having.
But that doesn't fix anything, right? It's just.
Yeah, it's a ball of crackers. It's a wet ball of crackers.
That's basically.
Delicious.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. New Year's Eve. I mean, can I just throw this idea out there? Just grill up some steaks and grill some lobster tails, have a celebratory dinner, but don't have a bunch of carbs. Is that so crazy? Like, can we be done? New Year's Eve to me, I don't love New Year's Eve.
We don't do it. So
we don't do it either.
I could talk about Christmas and Thanksgiving, but I can't talk about New Year's because we don't do New Year's. Unfortunately,
stick to like the surf and turf. Surf and turf is a classic New Year's Eve dish that is very NSNG. And if you want to throw some roasted asparagus or some, roasted broccoli bacon with it, great. You're going to be so full if you have steak and lobster tail. You're not even going to need any meat jewelry.
Yeah.
The idea is that just try to stay away from whatever like champagne floaty drinks that are so sweet. You gotta keep those at bay. Or else you're going to wake up with the massive headache.
I'm going to leave the audience with this.
Okay.
Last night, I slept over in D.C. because I had my hand done last night, and then I had a schedule to go in this morning for my next one. So I didn't want to drive back. So I've done that twice where I've slept over.
Good.
So I went for a steak last night. I said, you know what? A brother could use a steak, right now. So
Yes.
I went to this wonderful steak restaurant there in Alexandria, Virginia, and these two women, beautiful women, walked in right before me. They were standing in front of me waiting, and so the hostess sat them, and then when she came and sat me, she sat me adjacent to these two women. I was sitting in a booth. I'm by myself, so they put you in a booth. They kind of hide the sad people in a booth. But I'm looking at these two beautiful women. Now, both of these women were morbidly obese, right? And I'm looking at them. It's like, now I'm interested because I'm interested in what people do. It's like, okay, they chose a steakhouse. Maybe they're carnivores. Maybe they eat low carb, the whole thing. They both started with a glass of wine, fine, and a salad, right? And they both had, the big creamy dressing on the salad. Both had a creamy style dressing. I don't know what it was, but you just know there's a ton of seed oils and a ton of just everything right there, right? There's probably sugar in there. There's probably dextrose, what have you. I went, okay. And then that left the table. And then they both had it was a soup looking thing. So I was looking at the menu and it was the chowder, right? They had I'm sorry, it was a bisque. It was a crab and something bisque.
Well, a bisque is going to have flour in it.
And they didn't have a cup, Anna. They both had a bowl. So now you have something with a lot of flour in it. And they've already had a ton with the salad with the on top. And now they're having this.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, I'm just paying attention. And then they, by the time I was almost done, they were still doing that. I'm finishing up my steak, and then they both had a steak, right? They both had a steak come. And I heard the woman mention to the friend, hey, what are we getting for dessert? We're going to split a dessert? Yeah, I want the creme brulee. What do you want? So they're already talking about the dessert, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, this is the average American, right? They have the
It
salad.
feels like a massive amount of food.
It seemed like a massive.
Regardless of carbs or anything, it just seems like a lot of
food. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I had a 12-ounce steak, and I did have them bring me an appetizer. You mentioned surf and turf, and that was for me. I had them bring me out the jumbo
shrimp cocktail.
Because I was really hungry. I hadn't eaten all day and the whole thing. And of course, they bring out the, and I know that they have crap in that. So I just took some
the cocktail sauce. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't use the cocktail sauce. I took some salt from my table and sprinkled it on the shrimp, and then took some black pepper.
Lemon.
Same thing.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. But I just did that, and they were delicious.
Lemon on my shrimp
with shrimp with salt and black pepper. Now I get it. I'm a freak, right? Most people say, "Oh, let me just bathe it in this cocktail sauce," but I didn't want. I know there was seed oils in there. I didn't want to touch it. I figured it was dextrose and everything else. I'm being overly conscientious, I guess. But when I left there, I was full because my metabolism is not broken, right? My brain got the signal. He gave me a ton of protein with this, and then he had that steak with butter on it. He gave me some protein and fat. I paid my bill. I left, right? And all I could think was, man, what if I could get more people like these two beautiful women to pay attention? Because they were young. They weren't that old. They couldn't have been more than 35 or 40. But they were both morbidly obese. There's no other way, no other way to describe it, right? And I get it. Their brains were telling them they're hungry because that's what goes on. The ghrelin and leptin. One is telling you can never be full, right? The other one's telling you you're hungry. And it was right there in front of me. And I look at that and I think, God, if I could just get to these people, I just want to get to more of them. And that's what this podcast is about. That's what we're talking about today. We're not trying to create an eating disorder over the holidays. We're just trying to get you to calm down what you're eating over the holidays. Does that make sense, Anna?
Absolutely. I'm trying to keep people from going on a full-on bender because I feel like, again, we come back to the idea where people think it has to be they're either on the wagon or off the wagon, you know? And I want everybody I want everybody to feel like they're in control of their choices and they're not at the whims of what their family is making. You can take matters in your own hands. You can bring There have been so many Thanksgivings and Friendsgivings that I'm bringing dishes to, and there's no shame in my game. And you know what? People come for my food. They come for my food. They eat my low carb stuffing over the stuffing that's being served.
Yeah. Your
And,
stuff is
all I
amazing.
ask is that I get a little bit of it before everybody else takes the rest of it.
Yeah. You
But
got to put a little
but
bit on the
that's,
top there.
you can choose however you wanna do it. And if you hate Thanksgiving food, then make whatever you want and keep it NSNG. Don't worry about it.
Oh, Anna locked up there.
But I give
Hopefully
options
she's
on
coming right
purpose.
back.
Oh,
Let's see here. Come
oh,
on,
what
Anna.
happened?
She's still locked up for whatever reason. Well, while Anna is locked up, we were getting towards the end of the show. So I'm going to go ahead and start landing the plane here.
Let's
And
land the
hopefully,
plane.
it looks like she's getting ready to queue up again. While
Let's land
Anna
the
is trying
plane.
to
I
come
don't know
back,
what happened. Sorry about that.
you're there. I was just getting ready to do your plugs. Folks, she's annavocino.substack.com. Anna, you want free stuff? Listen, I gave you 10% off olive oil earlier in the show. Now I'm going to give you free stuff. annavocino.substack.com. That's all you need to know. Now listen, if you want the good stuff, go get Eat Happy Italian. I got mine sitting right here. I got to bring it back up to the kitchen so I can make some of the stuff. Eat Happy Italian is sitting right there to remind me to tell you guys about it. The book is out. I see everybody holding their books up on Instagram. There it is. Anna is showing it to you.
Oh, we have the prosciutto giveaway winner, Jonathan Hetherington.
You can't make up that name. Jonathan
Doesn't it sound like a character from Bridgerton? Jonathan Hetherington.
Yeah, of the North.
Lord and Lady Hetherington of the Manor.
Yes, Hetherington.
Yeah, he won the now I have to make good, and I have to actually buy a leg of prosciutto and send it to Jonathan Hetherington of New Jersey.
Yes, of the New Jersey Harrington.
Jersey Hetheringtons.
Okay, folks, you know what to do with
Jonathan.
me. We all go shopping on Amazon. By the way, when you go to Amazon, you could get my movie, Dirty Keto. It's the only place to get it, Amazon. You got to put it in the whole word, Dirty Keto. Go watch it. The people I was just talking to, I was talking about them earlier in the show, Becky and Jason. Becky and Jason. Yeah, they found Dirty Keto and they wanted me to clarify stuff. That's why they did the phone call. So you go check all that out. I got a special song for us to go out on. We haven't done this one in a long time. So here it is, folks. On behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with one Miss Shania Twain.